half x minus 2y equals negative 7. I'll call that equation 1. 3x minus 2y equals negative 12. I'll call that equation 2. Let's consider equation 1. Half x minus 2y equals negative 7. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to eliminate this fractional coefficient. To do that, I've got to consider the least common multiple of the denominators. Well, the denominator here is 2, the denominator here is 1, the denominator there is 1. So the least common multiple of those three denominators is 2. So I'm going to multiply the full equation by 2. So the 2 gets multiplied by all three pieces. In other words, the 2 is multiplied by the half x, the 2 is multiplied by the 2y, and the 2 is multiplied by the negative 7. 2 times half x, well, 2 as a fraction is 2 over 1. So I've got a fraction times a fraction, so I can do numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So I've got 2 times 1 is 2, over 1 times 2 is 2. So I've got 2 divided by 2, which is 1x, which is just x. Minus 2 times 2y is, I've got minus 4y. And I've got 2 times negative 7 is minus 14. Now I want to get y by itself on the left-hand side. So the first thing here is I'm going to get rid of this x. I do that by subtracting x from the left-hand side. But if I subtract x from the left-hand side, I must also subtract x from the right-hand side. X minus x is 0, so I'm going to have 0 minus 4y on the left. On the right-hand side, I'm going to rearrange this piece. Instead of writing negative 14 minus x, I'm going to write that as negative x minus 14. 0 minus 4y is negative 4y on the left, and I've got negative x minus 14 on the right. Negative 4y means negative 4 times y. So to get y by itself, I'm going to divide the left-hand side by negative 4. But because I divide the left-hand side by negative 4, I must divide both pieces on the right-hand side by negative 4 as well. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1, so I'm going to have 1 times y, which is just y on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, I have negative x divided by negative 4. Well, negative x, really, I could write that negative 1x. So I've got negative 1x divided by negative 4. That's going to be a quarter x. In other words, this negative over a negative is going to give me a positive. Now I've got minus 14 divided by negative 4. Well, 14 divided by negative 4, I can think about that as negative 14 over 4. But remember, I've got minus here. So I've got minus a negative 14 over 4. Well, minus a negative 14 over 4 is going to be plus 14 over 4. So I've got y equals 1 quarter x. Now, 14 divided by 4 can reduce. 2 goes into 14 7 times, and 2 goes into 4 twice. So I've got y equals 1 quarter x plus 7 over 2. So the slope is a quarter, and the y-intercept is 7 over 2. Let's consider equation 2. 3x minus 2y equals negative 12. I want to get y by itself on the left-hand side. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this 3x on the left-hand side. To do that, I'm going to subtract 3x from the left-hand side. But if I subtract 3x from the left-hand side, I've got to subtract 3x from the right-hand side. 3x minus 3x is 0, so I'm going to have 0 minus 2y on the left. On the right, I'm going to rewrite this piece. Instead of writing it as negative 12 minus 3x, I'm going to write that as negative 3x minus 12. 0 minus 2y is negative 2y on the left, and I've got negative 3x minus 12 on the right. Negative 2y means negative 2 times y. So to get y by itself on the left, I've got to divide the left-hand side by negative 2. But if I divide the left-hand side by negative 2, I must divide both pieces on the right-hand side by negative 2 as well. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1, so I'm going to have 1 times y, which is just y on the left. On the right, I've got negative 3x divided by negative 2. Well, that's going to be 3 over 2x. In other words, the negative divided by negative gives me a positive. and I've got minus 12 divided by negative 2. Well, 12 divided by negative 2 is negative 6. So I've got minus a negative 6. Well, minus a negative 6 is plus 6. So I've got y equals 3 over 2x plus 6. So the slope is 3 over 2 and the y-intercept is 6. Now let's graph both equations. So let's graph equation 1. The y-intercept is 7 over 2. Well, 7 over 2 is 3.5. So 3.5 as a y-intercept would be right here. Now the slope is a quarter. Remember, slope is rise over run. So I can see the rise in this case as 1 and the run is 4. So from the y-intercept, to get another point that satisfies the equation, I'm going to rise 1. So that would bring me to 4.5. And I'm going to run 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So another point that satisfies the equation is right there. So now I'm going to draw a line through those 2 points. So there's the graph of equation 1. Now let's graph equation 2. It's got a y-intercept of 6 right here, and it's got a slope of 3 over 2. Well, remember, slope is rise over run, so I can consider the rise here 3 and the run 2. So from the y-intercept 6, to get another point that satisfies the equation, I'm going to rise 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to run 2, 1, 2. So there's another point that satisfies the second equation. So I'm going to draw a line now through those 2 points. So there's the graph of equation 2. Now it appears that the 2 lines intersect about here. So that's going to be the solution to the system. So x is negative 2, y is 3. So it looks like the solution is x is negative 2, y is 3. Well, let's verify that.